Hello, this is Dario Western here for episode 2 of Desert Island Discs with Dario. And this week on our second episode, we've got Mikey Richards, the drummer from Brisbane's own Violent Soho. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problems, bro. So, what are the top 10 albums you'd like to take with you if you got stuck on the deserted island?
Oh, well, I only brought 5, actually.
It's 5, remember,
not exactly
Dario?
5, you've got some box sets, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, but they're actually just really big albums. Wait, I can tell you another 5 if you want, but right now I've got my 5 I brought today. But
so what's the first you got on the list?
Alright, so I started with, well, I wanted to... Some of my choices are like sentimental choices from when I was a teenager or just growing up. It's hard to make a choice of 5 albums.
It is, yeah, I do too. It's hard to make a choice, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so I wanted to pick a Nirvana album because Nirvana's a really important band to me for so many reasons. Musically influential, got me through a lot of hard times when I was younger as well, and I just love Kurt Cobain. He's probably my most influential musician to me. Like, I always think I like to play drums like Kurt Cobain plays the guitar. Just like real free-flowing and inspired and maybe not a little bit unconventional at times. Dave Grohl, I'm a huge fan of, always have been, and he's a great drummer. I think like energetically, I love to play drums like Dave Grohl, but as a musician I really look up to Kurt. So I picked In Utero because for me, this just overall is the most organic sounding of their albums and the most fully fleshed and accomplished in terms of what I believe Kurt Cobain was trying to achieve as a musician. And I guess like after the band had that success of Nevermind, it became like the biggest band in the world at the time.
Is that before Nevermind, is it?
Oh no, this is the album they put out after.
I know nothing about Nirvana, sorry.
right. Well, after they put out Nevermind, they were like literally the biggest band in the world. And I guess like creatively, Kurt had the opportunity to then go and just do whatever he wanted. And I think like that's part of what's so admirable about him as an artist is that he had the opportunity to go and make like another Nevermind, like a radio-friendly album, so to speak, and rather than that, he went and made like just a great album that was true and honest to his own influences. And having Steve Albini as the producer, being that like Touch and Go Records, all those bands from Chicago were a huge influence.
Was he from Big Black, Albini? Yeah, I thought so.
So the Yeah started out on Touch and Go, didn't they?
Oh, I believe so, yeah. So I think so, yeah. But so Steve Albini, like Big Black bands, like and other Touch and Go bands like Jesus Lizard were huge influences on Nirvana, and obviously Shellac as well.
Even the Scientists were.
I'm sorry?
The Scientists were too. The grunge era Scientists were too, yeah.
The Scientists as well, another great band. Oh my god. So
yeah.
I chose this album because I think for me this is the one I like to listen to the most, and especially like from where I like to work from as a musician, the sound of the drums on this, the Steve Albini sound of the drums is a huge influence on me. And I think for Violent Soho, working with Bryce Moorhead as well, like that's one of the things that attracted me to him as a producer and an engineer. He's the guy who did a lot of our early stuff. His drum sound is really similar to Steve Albini's.
Wasn't it you or Tidsy who said that Bryce Moorhead is the Steve Albini of Brisbane rock or something?
I think that's something that we would have said, yeah, it's very true.
I'm 100% pretty certain you said that.
Yeah, I bet we did, yeah. Because, and that's exactly one of the main reasons is his drum sound, and like the Dave Grohl's drums on this album sound amazing. And also the artwork, I love Kurt Cobain did this artwork.
It looks like... something like Carcass or Daniel Dax would have done.
For sure,
that, Dismembered Angel or something.
Yeah, and I love this like grungy, like urine-coloured yellow. Kind of speaks to like the aesthetic of the era as well. So yeah, In Utero is my first choice. So I pulled out.
Does this album have like Rape Me and I Hate Myself on Wanna Die? Because I think they were left off the CD when it first came out.
It has Rape Me, and like I think when the album came out. Can't see, it says Rape Me here. The song title of Rape Me was changed to Waif Me because Walmart wouldn't sell the record.
Oh, Walmart is like bloody fascists.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, the fascists of Walmart wouldn't wouldn't stop it, so they changed it. But this copy says "Rape Me," so I guess they've had their creative control back on this one. So yeah, In Utero is my first one I got.
Cool.
So second one I chose.
Yeah, cool.
Is Velvet Underground and Nico.
Every 60s rock fan should have this in their collection. Even me, who listens to like Sandy Shaw and The Bachelors. I've got this.
You can't leave this. I feel like for me, this is like Velvet Underground are one of my favorite bands of all time.
Right.
For many reasons. For one thing, I think you wouldn't have punk rock without the minimalist aesthetic of this band.
That's right. Yeah.
Just like the simple rhythms, especially with the drums just being like boom, boom, boom.
More in
drum beats on like Waiting for the Man, they're just very monotonous drum.
Maureen Tuck is a real basic drummer. She's very simple with what she does. Yeah.
Very good though. And
I like Lou Reed's sort of like tired deadpan vocals. As if he's almost laughing behind what he's singing.
Yes, and he's got that way of singing where it's very like deadpan, but also sort of like cynical and very melodic though also, and with the simple like I guess elements of all of the songs, like it's very simple melodies, almost like nursery rhymes to a point.
Well, Sunday morning
starts with the glockenspiel, and I mean like there's just such a great dynamic of songs on this album, from like Venus and Furs to like Heroin. Like some really like raw emotive tracks too.
It gets very sort of very hard and heavy and experimental as the album goes on and on. It starts off really sweet and nice, and then it goes very heavy and
yes,
I quite like about it.
It's got a beautiful dynamic to it. Very poppy, but also very experimental. Such a great band. Lou Reed, John Cage, and I mean you've got Nico guesting on the album, and for a debut album from a band to have like sort of like a cult celebrity at the time of Nico appearing on the record was a brilliant move. Andy Warhol's production. It's just like so seminal on so many levels. In fact, this album was really not big at the time when it came out.
It wasn't, no.
No. But it's now like a cult classic and just like one of the great albums from the 60s.
It's interesting that Verve Records put this out because they were mainly known for being like a jazz and blues label.
Well, I guess there's like a jazzy element to it, almost like how like the Rolling, or bluesy at least, like the Rolling Stones, just to like refer to another like seminal 60s band, had that like R&B rhythm and blues, and I think like for a lot of people like separating bands like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, I've always said, well, the Rolling Stones are rhythm and blues, the Beatles are pop, but it's all rock and roll. And I guess like this sort of sits in the middle of that. Rhythmically and dynamically, it has a lot of like bluesy elements, but also a lot of like pentatonic, classical sort of pop melodies. And
it's very complex, with the way the chords and stuff are arranged and stuff on it.
It takes the songwriting styles of the time and almost like emulates them as like the commercial product of what pop is, but from a sense of it being like cynical or tired. And I guess like that aesthetic also comes about representing punk rock in a really like primordial sense.
Avant-garde sense.
I'm sorry?
In an avant-garde sense. Punk rock in an avant-garde sense. Avant-garde punk rock,
Definitely, And just like the simple artwork, Andy Warhol. I love it. So, and I love the, like, and again, like...
The light show back picture.
With the light show. Really cool. So, had to pick that one.
Is that a reissue, Mikey?
Oh yeah, it is.
For Men Records.
I don't have. Yeah, it's like a double gatefold. I don't know if the original pressing is double gatefold.
I don't think it is. No.
But I'd be stoked to have an original.
Yeah. You probably paid a few $100s for it.
Just ask Rick from Rocking Horse.
This was reissued in 2008. So
okay, cool.
So it's definitely reissued.
Yeah, definitely. I think most of what I got here is a reissue. But so then the next one I got is another recorded New York band.
Sonic Youth,
Daydream Nation. Again, like a really influential band for me. And this album is my favorite Sonic Youth album. They've got loads of albums, loads of great ones. Yeah, I could go on. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, how did you find Thurston Moore to work with when you were on Ecstatic Peace, records that he ran?
Yeah, sure. So it was awesome working with Thurston.
He produced Violent Soho, did he?
We were on his label, so we put out our self-titled album. Came out on. We had a few 7-inch releases as well on his label, Ecstatic Peace. And I remember back in 2008 going to New York and meeting him, having dinner with him, sitting down. In fact, actually, I remember that night when I was walking to the restaurant and I was listening on my Discman to Daydream Nation. Just I can't believe I'm about to meet Thurston.
Yeah, right.
One of my heroes and one of my favourite guitarists as well. One of my favourite musicians.
Yeah, and you were produced by Gil Morton when you were on his label.
That album's produced.
Yeah, because I liked the band Terrorvision, which he produced in the 90s. The song Oblivion was one of my favourite 90s songs.
Oh, I don't think I've heard that.
I've got it in the album How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, that's an awesome
they
title.
were from Yorkshire in England, but sounded to all the world that they were from LA.
Yeah, I like that title. That's a book. My dad gave me that book.
Yeah, I've got it.
This album, I mean, it's huge. I think there's 4 LPs what I've got here. But just so many great songs. My favorite song would probably be the title track, Daydream Nation. Oh, sorry. No, wait. What's the title track called? Teenage Riot. Oh my God. Sorry. It's not a title track, but Teenage Riot. Yeah, that's my favorite song on the album. And also the artwork by Gerhard Richter. Again, I guess a sort of a high art figure, sort of similar to Andy Warhol being
It's carrying on the tradition of Velvet Underground, I believe. I really believe in their sound, they're carrying on that Velvet's tradition.
Definitely, with the drony guitar, the punk rock aesthetic, avant-garde punk rock.
I really like the cover of the Carpenters' Superstar. They sort of turned it into a Serge Gainsbourg meets the Velvet Underground.
Definitely, excellent. Yeah, that's an excellent cover. And I love Gerhard Richter as well, the artist who did this painting. So that's just a bonus that it's got one of his most seminal pieces as the artwork. So overall, just another pick. I can't leave this one behind. Actually, this question about 5 favorite albums. My girlfriend asked me recently what this was when we were having dinner.
Yeah, that's
and I was like, okay. And I went through the history of what would I pick, and I was like, I guess it's my sort of autistic mind going through the history of what's most seminal, what's most important, what can I leave behind, what do I need, what's a good balance of blah, blah, blah. And these are the ones I picked. So when you asked me to do this, she was like, oh, I wrote this down for you the other day. I was like, oh good, what did I choose?
I'll tell you what, she's a keeper, man.
Yeah, she definitely is. Cool. So
Kim Gordon's doing some really good stuff now. The Veronicas bassist Camilla is working with her.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is she Australian?
Camilla is American. But she's been out to Australia a couple of times when they've played.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's good to know. Yeah. So Kim's a legend.
Love Kim.
Got to meet her too. When we were working with Thurston, it was before her and Kim he and Kim had that really messy breakup, so I got to hang out with both of them, which was really special. That's a really important album.
Yeah, cool.
For me also.
Yeah. Good one to do up the Velvets.
Yeah, 2 New York bands.
Yeah.
I love my New York bands, man. I could make all New York bands, I guess, if I wanted to delve into it. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. We could do a sequel, maybe.
Yeah. So then I've got this one, which is a huge box set. But
it's
actually just one album. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by the Smashing Pumpkins.
Right.
I picked this one because it was one of the first albums I ever really fell in love with when I was younger. I got it on CD when I was about 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, right.
Had to hide it from my parents.
What was so controversial about it at the time?
I think it's just some of the lyrics and some of the content is quite melancholic, obviously the title. For a child to be listening to, some of the songs have some pretty dark issues about suicide and things. I guess when I was young, I didn't relate to that, but more just the beautiful poetic lyrics, every song's like there's a whole big breadth of different types of songs. I feel like every song is individually produced as a piece itself. It's such an epic production. The album goes for like 2.5 hours.
Which Big produced this one?
No, this is produced by Flood.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
Flood is.
So yeah, very like I'd love to work with that producer. Oh my
Butch
God.
Vig.
Oh, I'd love to work with Butch Vig too.
Yeah.
But Flood especially, I think like just the way he dynamically like creates an album. It's not like building it up. It's like seeing the structure and like filling it in like this way, almost like how I chose the albums.
Yeah.
But yeah, like every song's like beautifully different. The lyrics are very relatable, but also like quite abstract and like romantically poetic, which like just suits my personality. I think.
Did they have any hit singles from this album?
Oh yeah. What you got? Tonight,
Yeah.
Zero, Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Oh yeah, that's a classic song. I love the guitar riff in that.
Yeah.
Very Nirvana-ish almost. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. 1979.
Oh yeah,
on
great
here.
song, yeah.
I'm just looking through. 33 is a good single. Yeah, I mean, but there's like how many songs? We've got 32 songs.
Oh, by Starlight. Yeah.
32 song album. So
Wow, yeah.
it's very long. That's why it's got so many LPs.
Yeah, For Eyes is my favourite Violent Soho song from the Hungry Ghost album. And yeah, quite a few people who've commented on the video have said that you guys must have been listening to By Starlight when you wrote that song. Especially with James's guitar effects and stuff and the opening chords.
I can see why people would say that. Also, like our song "Ceremony" said, it's got a lot of similar dynamic similarities to the song 1979, I think, as well, especially in the verses. So, yeah, huge influence on Violent Soho as well.
Oh, yes.
Like, Luke's singing style is very similar to Billy Corgan.
Yeah, he's got that very sort of almost angsty, dirty kind of thing that one of the 90s rock singers had.
I've been calling him an angsty nerd for years. So,
so he takes us as a compliment now, does he?
He better. He has to, because it is. But yeah, like this album as well, I think just really informed my tastes, and also like in terms of mental health, like as a young person who had depression from like a child age, I guess like the heavy romanticism of and embracing like the darker elements of like what goes on in your mind in like a romantic, empowering way, the dark and the light side of what it is to be human spoke to me at a really early age. And although like at that age I might not have articulated that quite as clearly, like I think that's why the album still resonates for me and it was really important for me.
Right.
When I was in high
You
school,
can relate to it.
yes, and when I was in high school, I remember printing off like lyrics in like old English font on the computer and like posting them on like my exercise books and like.
Did you used to get dumped up with teachers for that, or?
I would know because I was a good student. I got away with it, but yeah, I might have otherwise if I was not a good student. But I always got I was a good boy. I'm a good boy in school. Still a good boy.
This is the last one, and we've never heard of this band. Can you tell us a bit more about them? They're very obscure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love pop punk. I love punk rock. Always been like in punk bands my whole life since I was like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, right.
And like growing up in the 90s, like real like D-beat, hardcore, like I guess like D-beat pop punk that was based off of like hardcore influences from culture in the 80s was like the thing. And this album came out in 2011, but for me it really captures like a return to that genre and that guitar sound as well. It's Title Fight's Shed. Title Fight are one of my favourite bands ever, and I mean, feel like I wanted to choose something more contemporary as well because a lot of these are quite old releases. So going with Title Fight Shed, I think like I've got like in my choices because like if I was on a desert island, so to speak, like I've got some nice long choices, some like historical stuff going back to the 60s as well, and I started like picking something a bit more contemporary that's a bit more like short and sweet and aggressive, but also like emotive and like relatable. I saw this band play at the old museum actually, right near where we are.
How long ago?
In 2011.
Wow.
2011, yes.
That was the first time I heard them. And they were playing an all-ages concert at the old museum. And it was really wild. It's one of the best shows I've ever been to, I have to say. Like, just the way that the show fell into chaos, all these, just like kids jumping on the stage, crowd surfing.
They should have gone next door to the bloody showgrounds for that.
There was like these kids, yeah.
Wildlands.
It was a wild show. Like all these kids were like running onto the stage, like teenage kids, because it was an all ages show, running on the stage, crowd surfing, and there was a security guard who came on and like stopped the show. He was like, "We're gonna stop the shows. Everyone stop crowd surfing," and then like the band kept on playing, and then like the security guard started like beating up some kids, and then this guy like came up and like I don't condone violence, obviously. Like I'm not a violent person, but this guy who I think he worked at the venue, like another security guard, came up on the stage and just punched this other security guard for like beating up kids, and it was like a battle of the security guards. So the security guards started fighting, and the whole show just turned into chaos. And they turned off the PA, but the band kept playing. The drummer kept playing, and they finished off the set. And it was like just really wild and inspiring. And I was like, I felt like I hadn't seen something like that inspiring or chaotic and punk rock for years. And that was the first time I ever heard this band. I bought this record at the show. Yeah. Ever since it's been...
Are they still going?
No, they haven't played a show in a while. I don't know if they've totally broken up or anything. I think I think they paused to go to university maybe. The members. I don't know what they're doing at the moment, but they're really good band. And just like this album, I bought at that show. That was the first time I'd ever heard Title Fight. And ever since it's been like non-stop on my life. It's constantly on rotation for me. I listen to this album at least once a week. It's like a 30-minute great punk rock, pop punk type album. I love the artwork as well, really cool. I can't remember the name of the artist.
It looks almost a bit like Supertramp's Crisis, with the Paradise and the Ruined City.
Yeah, I like just the minimal, like the sort of banality of like a destroyed landscape, as though like that's just like, especially I guess for Americans, like I lived in America for a while and went around a lot of like smaller towns, like college towns, like where these guys are from, and it's very like in ruins. Well, I was living there during the Great Recession as well. Wow. And like I guess that was not an unusual sight. But just the clear blue skies, it's like, it's kind of reminds me of our artwork for Everything Is A-OK, where it's almost like, like there's some like entropy to like this society that we live in, but still like we're very privileged and just be thankful for what you've got. There's a nice like serenity to like the chaos in the artwork.
Whereas Everything Is A-OK, it's got a very there's a calmness and serenity throughout the whole picture. Whereas that one has like paradise and dystopia together.
Yeah. I think that's a great description what you just said.
So Bob, before we finish, I've got a couple of questions.
Mikey, what's going on in Violent Soho? What are you up to during this COVID time?
Well, we've it's been obviously a lot of people would know how COVID's affected the music industry, but at the same time, it's been a challenge that has been encouraging to sort of take on. A lot of for Violent Soho specifically, like I guess COVID couldn't have happened at a worse time. We'd already had a bit of a break leading into the release of Everything Is A-OK, which came out just at the beginning of lockdowns and things.
You did a very innovative launch gig for it as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the beatbox in the middle of Lane Park and the album playing on the screen.
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago, but we still haven't been able to tour that album. And so, in the meanwhile, we've got like a couple of songs that we're waiting to release when we get more of a green light to tour it. And it's interesting at this time because there's been a couple of like reopenings, and we've fit a couple of shows in here and there over the last 2 years, and it's like we're going to get back into touring, and then another strain of the virus, and so things get pushed back. So at the moment, we've got shows starting again in about 5 or 6 weeks.
5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, we're going down to Victoria. So I have all of the trust that is going to pan out fine. And I guess, you know what? One of the things is that when you have something taken away that's a real privilege and an honour for you to have in your life, for me, it helped me to address like some other aspects of my life that I needed to address, that needed addressing, and so like facing your demons in that way was like really important and healthy for me. And so I'm quite grateful for my experience during COVID in that it's helped me become a better person and just to be thankful for what I've got in terms of being able to eat, being able to sleep under a roof, like, you know, just like being alive in like a beautiful country like Australia, and like spending so much time in Brisbane without leaving as well, just like really appreciating that I live in one of the best
Brisbane
cities
City,
in the world, and I know like so many good people. And people, it's a great community of creatives, and you know everyone's on their own journey. And so you know I've been in the music industry for a really long time, and there's been highs and lows all throughout. So it might have been a low, but it was also an energetic challenge to like re-establish what I loved about music. So like rather than sitting on my hands, I got up and started a few new bands. Some of them I'm really passionate about in terms of like thinking they could be like avenues for moving forward, but others it's just like about mateship and just getting up and playing some music.
Luke are doing a bit of a spin-off thing from Violent Soho.
Well, he and I have got a band called Stillmates that we've sort of mucked around with for years. We haven't played a show in like 6 or 7 years, but it's very like very avant-garde, very experimental, sort of like doom metal. I guess it's that with a few other elements to it, but yeah, like we were going to do a show in December, but it was just that's when the Omicron strain got really bad. So we put the show on hold, and I think what we'll do is maybe record a few songs because people haven't heard it. Unless they've been to like the few shows we did like 6 or 7 years ago, just to like give people an indication of what this is. Because we did have a few rehearsals leading up to that, where we were like, "This is really good. We should record this." Like, And it was also just fun for the two of us who work like professionally together to like branch out into something where like it's just more creatively free for the two of us specifically. To work on something and to not really worry about like how it's received or anything like that. Not that.
Yes. Okay. Right. Yeah. Sorry, we just had a bit of a hitch with the camera. Anyway, so is Tinsy going to be doing the next tour with you? Because
definitely. Like you know, that's kind of one of the things as well with playing in a band with some guys for so long. In the sense of like, if somebody can't do a show, it's not the end of the world. Like, you know, like it was awesome having Soph from Thailand fill in for those couple of shows, and that's just part of the thing with like COVID restrictions. It's not always easy for everyone, but in terms of
finger down, put your fingers down, that's it. Put your left hand down.
Is your finger in the way?
Left hand down, just your fingers are going to be screen. That's it. That's it. Okay.
That's alright. Okay. For sure.
Okay. Bob, last question about Mike and myself.
Yes, you and Dario co-wrote a song together, is that right, Mike?
Yeah. So I've got this song that I started working on years ago when I used to work at Rocking Horse, called Rock and Roll is the Greatest Thing on Earth. And I used to sing it when I worked in the office because there were the older guys that worked there. I was like in my early 20s at the time, and they used to just get annoyed at me and my mate James, just joking around all the time talking about rugby league. And we'd always be like, "Can you guys stop talking about rugby league?" And like originally the song was "Rugby League is the greatest game on earth," and then I just changed the lyrics to "Rock and Roll is the greatest thing on earth."
Yeah.
And I put it on.
It's true.
Yeah, it is. It is true.
Yeah.
That's in the lyrics. It's true. So anyway, I put it on my Instagram page, and Dario really enjoyed it. So he's written some more lyrics for this song. And I guess when we've got more time, maybe next time when I come back, we should work on the song and record
Definitely. Yeah. What I wanted to get was the sort of shimmery guitars that were used in the song "Hassoon Now" when Disappointed by Morrissey. You know?
Oh yeah, I like that idea of that.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, because that riff will never ever get old.
Oh, definitely, and
because I'm from Manchester as well, so.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I grew up in a couple of suburbs down from Morrissey back in the 70s.
Ah, right. Because I always thought like you've got a bit of a Britishy accent. Yeah. I didn't realise that you're from there. You know, I'm a massive Manchester United fan.
Soccer.
I was like, you're a City fan. I was going to say that. I was like, I bet he's a City fan.
Yeah, my old girlfriend at school was a United fan.
Yeah, right. I've got like family heritage going back to there, like a long, long way back, like
Wow.
great grandfather kind of thing. But yeah, I feel really connected to that part of the world actually.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. We can talk about that next time, maybe.
Of course.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Well, thanks, Mikey.
Thank you, Bob, and thanks,
Thanks, Bob.
Dario. Thanks
Yeah.
so much for having me. It's been real fun seeing you guys.
Yeah, cool, mate.
It's glad to see everyone's doing
Bit
well.
different to my 5 choices. Different era.
Yeah.
Except for the Velvets, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But you did different style, different era, which makes for variety, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool.